Dan, Kevin, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We're supposed to approve that. Started here.
I have a township meeting I have to go to in Peoria.
Well,
Are we ready to go or are we waiting still?
we're ready, yeah. I think we're ready.
Okay, super. Well, let's call to order the Thursday, August 5th, 2021 Committee of the Whole Meeting, Administrative Committee. Start with roll call. Kevin?
Oh, well.
Yes, one moment, please. God, I was doing roll call even. All right, we'll do Chairman Johnson.
Here.
Vice Chair Geeske.
Here.
Ray Larson.
Here.
Jonathan Van Laar.
Here.
Dave Wiltsey.
Here.
Brian Curry. Jeff Carlisle.
Here.
Steve Schabacher.
Here.
Bill Robertson.
Here.
Jerry Bartelt.
Here.
Rodney Riley. Here. Brady De La Trinidad.
Here.
Super. Next, I'd accept a motion to approve the July 8th County of the Whole Finance Meeting Minutes.
So moved. Second.
Motion by, who was the motion by?
Steve Schabacher.
Motion by Mr. Schabacher, seconded by Mr. Carlisle. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Sherry Geeske.
Yes.
Ray Larson.
Aye.
Jonathan Van Laar.
Here.
Dave Wiltsey.
Aye.
Jeff Carlisle.
Yes.
Steve Schabacher.
Yes.
Bill Robertson.
Yes.
Sherry Bartelt.
Yes.
Rodney Riley.
Yes.
Brady De La Trinidad.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Yes. Next, I'd like a motion to approve the agenda. Do we have any changes to the agenda, Kevin?
No changes this evening.
All right, so I'd accept a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved. Second by Wiltsey.
We have a motion and a second by Mr. Wiltsey. Any discussion? All in favor say, or I'm sorry, roll call, please.
Because there's,
Voice vote?
I don't think we can because there's members.
Oh, right, sorry.
Yeah, we have to do roll calls and everything. I'm sorry.
Vice Chairman Geeske.
Yes.
Ray Larson.
Aye.
Jonathan Van Laar.
Yes.
Dave Wiltsey.
Aye.
Jeff Carlisle.
Yes.
Steve Schabacher.
Yes.
Bill Robertson.
Yes.
Jerry Bartelt.
Yes.
Rod Riley.
Yes.
Brady De La Trinidad.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Yes. Do we have any public comment?
You have one this evening, Chairman Johnson, Abby Pro.
All right, Abby, the floor is yours.
Yes.
Sorry. Thank you very much for hearing me tonight. I reached out earlier this week to Mr. Curry.
I'm sorry, but you just state your name and your address for the record. I'm sorry.
Yep, sorry.
Thank you.
It's Abby Pro. I'm at 2794 Hampson Way in Belvedere. So the reason that I'm here today is to request that the county board review the ordinance governing pool barriers and fences. Since the ordinance was last updated in 2003, pool safety technology has come a really long way. I'm asking that the automatic pool safety covers be added as an acceptable alternative. We had our pool installed last spring, 2020, during the pandemic, when we were unable to actually get a fence. So we adapted and decided to put in a safety pool cover, which is rated to be one of the safest covers on the market. This isn't our first pool. We've had another pool before at our previous address in Rockford where we had a fence. One of the reasons that I'm asking that you guys review this is I personally have had experience with our old pool barrier, the fence, where landscapers have left gates open, things like that. The new, sorry, I get really nervous. The new pool barrier, that we have now actually allows my husband and I to be the only people who have the code to it, which I feel is a lot safer and more secure. It allows us to be the ones in control of who's able to enter, even if we were to have a fence. And therefore, I guess I'm just asking that we can review it and see if it's something that can be changed or updated. So I do have literature on how the pool covers work. I don't know if I'm supposed to give that to somebody or how this works exactly.
Yeah, so we can probably after the meeting or during, maybe you can talk to our county planner and she can walk through those details with you.
All right, perfect. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Yes.
All right, super. Any other public comment?
None this evening, Chairman Johnson.
Okay. All right, and then in that case, the first thing I'd like to do is you'll all notice that we have a member joining us. She's been away for a little bit, and I want to say a big welcome back to Vice Chair Gieske. We are so glad that you've made it through your ordeal the best possible way, and we look forward to you gaining more and more strength and being a bigger and bigger part every day as we move forward.
Thank you, Carl.
Next up, I think Sherry, did you want to go ahead and fill in for Ryan on doing this stuff?
I'd be happy to do that.
Super. I know that he is on his way, so he'll be here shortly, hopefully.
Okay, thank you very much, and I appreciate your kind words. Our first monthly presentation is public safety, and I think we turn it over to.
I didn't catch that last part. What was that, Kevin?
You're up. You're up, Dave.
Thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you very much, Dave.
Just go over what we do typically on a monthly basis. Again, we had a pretty busy July. In the last month, unfortunately, we had some serious things. We had a fireworks fatality. We had a vehicle fatality. But we had multiple serious accidents throughout the month of July. For some reason, this has just been a really rough summer. I don't know if it's more traffic out or what, but we could have easily had 6 fatalities in that weekend. So there are a lot of people that are in still bad shape, and that's a credit to the medical groups that keep these people alive to get better. So it's been kind of crazy with the accidents. We also had a really good search warrant by our Metro unit in our SWAT team over in Farmington, where they arrested 3 people on Class X felony amounts of heroin, cocaine, and cannabis. So they were dealing right out of their residence. So that's always a good note when we can do something like that. Our overtime report that I give every month, again, just to kind of keep everybody updated. I'm not necessarily concerned for the most part. It is getting a little bit more critical. Our patrol, we're doing fine, although next week is our fair, which we do spend quite a bit of overtime during that event. Our dispatch center is about 18% over budget. We're currently down 2, and we may lose another one in the coming weeks. Which again, it's just kind of a critical stage. We just cannot keep up to 16. And our corrections has really been the thorn all year. We've talked about it multiple times, but we're 52% over budget. So we've almost expended the entire budget of overtime this year. We're $92,000, almost $93,000 over that budget. Again, this is mainly because we're down so many people and we can't get them in the academies. So we're currently down 4. Again, I will say we're pretty good in the budget because that takes away from the wages, which were about $128,000 to the good. So it will balance out. But I do want to point out when we talk about $93,000, it is a critical hit to our employees. They are working a lot of hours over, which is not healthy for them. So that is a concern for us. We will start getting into that critical stage for the budget with the overtime based on, we hired we swore 2 new officers in last week. And they left for the academy last week. They've been in there for a week. Kendall Botcher and Nick Bogdonis, one from Rockford and one from northern Boone County. So we're very excited to have these 2 employees. We're down 4. we get them into the academy, but now is when we start taking some of those wages away that may offset some of the overtime. So that's going to start, we'll keep an eye on it. Not much we can do about it back in corrections because we have to have so much staff there to work. But again, I think it's really important to keep the board updated on where we're at in the budget process or the overview. But I'm at this point, I'm really not concerned with any of those numbers. I think we're still going to be okay by the end of the year, but time will tell if we lose a couple more people. We are testing for two more, we're looking for 2 more correctional people that we would love to hire. But again, it's unusual, but people just don't want to work these days. And it's pretty much, I don't know what it is, but it's pretty common across the line. So both police departments and sheriff's offices are struggling with people. One, people don't want to work, but secondly, people don't want to get into law enforcement either. So it's really a double-edged sword for us. So we have a test, for our corrections. Usually we would get at least 40, 50. We got 7. So we'll see even how that even works out. I'm not even convinced any of the 7 will be worthy, but we'll see how that. We're not going to sacrifice what we're looking for the sake of bodies. So it's just a process. Again, this is where we struggle with the overtime and the wages. We have some, good news for that employee, bad news for us. Janine Kaplan, who's our 911 coordinator. She's been with us for, I think, 11 years in the sheriff's office. She's actually going to be leaving the sheriff's office. She got an outstanding, real promotion she's going to be running the 911 center for Winnebago County. And she's going to be in charge of 28 employees over there. So that is a huge, we're thrilled for her. She got the training with us. She's been an excellent employee. We're really happy for her to be able to take that step. That's a huge step. So she's really going from a coordinator's position to a director's position. So kudos to her. It totally sucks for us because she's an excellent employee. So with that being said, and she does love it here. Her husband works for the city of Belvedere. She would have never left, but this is a great opportunity, a substantial amount of more money. But really it's more about the job that she's going to is really what she was looking for. So with that being said, we are currently exploring a couple options. Now that we have that 911 coordinator's position open, we may be looking, again, just to kind of keep the board, updated on it. We may be looking at maybe creating a director's position rather than a coordinator to oversee the employees and all the works of that 911 center. One thing that has always bothered me with the 911 center is every time we get a promotion, because we have a lieutenant that's over multiple areas of the sheriff's office, including the 911 center. They directly oversee the 911 center. We have 16 dispatchers. So when we promote somebody, we put somebody in charge of that facility that knows absolutely nothing about the 911 center, which does not seem, realistically, it doesn't seem right. So we are hoping that we can promote within, but I will keep the board. We're really only exploring that right now. But this is the direction that we're going with all the changes that are going on in law enforcement. We really need more time spent with that lieutenant in other areas. Still oversee this employee, but these are things that we may be bringing to the board in the future, but we'll keep you updated. Some more bad news. We had an air conditioning unit, again, just to kind of keep you updated in the old jail section that we had been talking with county admin about working it into next year's budget. It stopped working yesterday, so it is not fixable. This unit is 31 years old. Clearly got our money's worth out of it. As we say, it's really, it's probably closer to 90 years old. We use dog years because it runs 24/7, where most places run for 8 hours. So we are going to be trying to replace that. This would be, this would fall under the emergency. This is the old section that we have to have replaced immediately if we can. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get it. If it turns out to be a more, we can't get it immediately, which we may not, and they have to build it, and we're talking a couple months out. Well, that'll take away from the emergency status. Then we'll go out for bids, and we'll just we'll see where that goes, but we'll find out tomorrow. Cerrone, who does all our maintenance up there for those type of things, are coming in tomorrow with an update. We gave it today, so hopefully we absolutely need air conditioning in that. And unfortunately, in the society we live in, the criminals have much more needs than normal people. So I've already been sued once for, an inmate being too hot. So it is something that it is a priority, but I would say it's a priority for the employees that work there. So, and lastly, two things. Good news, we are currently in negotiations with Illinois Department of Corrections, which I've talked about on a monthly basis. I'm not taking our prisoners. We get stuck with the bills. With the last budget, we believe there is money in there through negotiations that are going actually fairly well. We may be able to reimburse a really good portion of that money. And we're talking, that's near that $350,000 mark, which is really unexpected money. Now, granted, it's still the state of Illinois. I'm not saying we're going to get that, but at least that's the direction that we're heading in, which is a huge positive. That's the best news that we've got with Department of Corrections. We do have a lot of our representatives and our senators. Senator Severson has done a bunch of work on it too, trying to push this through because it is absolutely ridiculous that this should fall back on the local taxpayers. So hopefully that's going to work out. And I'm hoping in the next month or so, we're going to have updated to see where that's really going to fall. But so far it sounds very, very positive. Lastly, we have the Boone County Fair starts next week, which is a 24/7 operation for us. It's a long week, but I would encourage everybody to go to the fair. It's the best fair in the Midwest. So with that being said, I would open it up for any questions. If anybody has any questions or concerns.
Any questions for the sheriff in the boardroom?
Sherry Bartelt has a question.
Go ahead, Sherry.
Hi, Dave. I just want to tell you that Freddie and I were up in Galena last week, and we had two very nice state police officers there talking to us about all new rules and regulations and those that are being changed. And we also heard about the money coming from the state, hopefully to pay for prisoners. He said basically to keep up with everything almost weekly because things are changing weekly with your rules and regulations. Do you hear stuff weekly from the state on your rules and regulations being changed or added or whatever after Pittsburgh signed some of the stuff and now it's being reversed?
Well, we talked about it a little bit last month. If we're talking about the new police reform, if that's the direction that you're headed, most of those changes have been taken back. We do have a lot of new reporting. We have a lot of new training issues, which again goes hand in hand with some of the lieutenants. All departments are going to have a lot more responsibility on some things, but a lot of the critical, the sky is falling things that we were concerned about have kind of been taken back. But they only dealt with things that went into effect July 1st. So we still are concerned with multiple things in that bill. They're going to dissect that and negotiate. We're going to be hearing about this for the next 3 years. So they'll start to look at the stuff that's going to take effect January 1st this year and change some of those things, including like 2023 with the no bail, getting rid of the bail. That is something that they're still looking at and is in the current law, but I would not be surprised if they take that out too. There's been a large uproar. It's ridiculous that they would think to do that, in my opinion. But I think there's a lot more pushback now. It was easy to sign it at the beginning, but now that the reality has kicked in, I think they're walking back a lot of that stuff. There definitely needs to be some police reform, which this is 2021. We fully support and believe in that. But police still have to be police and we still have to keep communities safe. So we're all working towards that.
Yeah, it was kind of a heated subject.
Not surprising.
Are there any,
Hopefully your interaction with the state police wasn't when you guys were stopped, or was it actually just came across them, or?
Well, they were verbal.
All right, very good.
any other questions from the board members in the room?
Doesn't look like it, Sherry.
Okay, thank you. Anything from
Thank you.
who else is on the phone? Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Let's see, next up is the monthly presentation from the Highway Department. Justin, are you there or online?
I'm in the room.
Oh, thank you. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. So I'll go real quick. I'll stick with my 3 minutes, unlike the sheriff. So contractually, we're about halfway through the summer paving program. If you've been on Woodstock Road, North Boone School, or Russellville, you've probably seen some work that's done. Some of the work we've got coming up, which will start probably in a month or so. By contract, it's got to be completed September 20th. Will be on Cherry Valley Road, and we've got a lot of different subdivisions, a couple over in Belvedere Township and Timberlane, and then some industrial drives off of Newburgh Road. Cherry Valley Road is the big one yet we got to do. Wheeler Road culverts, we're supposed to begin next week, but those are delayed a little bit based on some utilities that need to be adjusted. And then Denny Road Bridge is on the agenda for tonight, so I won't get into too many details on that, but that should be under construction late this year. So that's the bridge replacement by Orth Road. Next item I have on the narrative is the funding. There's two main items that we were focused on at the Highway Department. One is improvements to Poplar Grove Road between Belvedere and Poplar Grove. As you've heard, some of the recent developments, there were some safety concerns, and there's always been safety concerns on that road and as well as other roads. So we're certainly trying to improve that roadway. So we've gone out for some funding opportunities and had some success. So those are attached to the board docs as well. So primarily, we're looking not only for the current situation that we have and traffic, but future. IDOT has the 3 roundabouts still scheduled, as far as I am aware, for construction on Illinois Route 76. So when those happen, like we've talked in the past, once you do some restrictions on roadways, typically there's some spillover on the adjacent roadways, which would be Poplar Grove Road. So I expect if and when that does happen, we'll see increased volumes and potentially increased traffic or accidents if nothing changes. So we are looking at trying to improve Poplar Grove Road. 3 grant applications were submitted late last year. The TARP application, we've received a $630,000 award for that on Poplar Grove Road between Belvedere and Poplar Grove. That's the same grant that we just recently used for Manchester Road. So Illinois Special Bridge Program, you may recall, some of you were aware of the application that was submitted on that. There were some difficulties with that process, but it looks like that is a success at this point to a certain level. So that's $2.6 million. The Illinois Transportation Enhancement Program grant, that is more or less a bike path or pedestrian pathway grant. Izzy helped me with that grant application, and I appreciate that. That grant was actually one that I was probably most convinced, if I had to guess which one we would get, it would be that one, and that was the one that was not selected. Unfortunately, I was trying to widen out Poplar Grove Road with that grant, and that would be used as a bike lane, and that's an acceptable practice per the Illinois DOT standards. The grant application committee kind of saw that we were trying to widen the road, and so they made the project ineligible. So we did not receive that grant. Fifth one is the Illinois 76 Town Hall Extension. That, depending on how the infrastructure bill goes, but it looks like that might get some legs, and we might be getting some funding for that. Operationally, we're striping the road, so please try to be cognizant of that. We have cones and signage out when that happens. Doing our second round of mowing and doing some culvert installation work throughout the county after those are completed. I am doing a 7-week commissioner training. We've got some new commissioners that are throughout the county. So every Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10:30, I'm holding different sessions on different topics. Certainly you guys are welcome to attend. If you have any interest in that, please feel free to reach out to me. Otherwise, that's kind of a summary of what we're looking at. Any questions?
Thank you, Justin. Are there any questions for Justin in the boardroom? Any questions from anyone on the phone other than me?
Sherry, this is Carl. I've got a quick question.
Go ahead, please, Carl.
Justin, have any idea how things with the EDA grants that we've, put some projects up for that stuff, there at Irene Road and some other things, has any of that gotten any legs, do you know of?
I'm not aware. R1PSC is certainly helping us out with that. And there was some talk a couple weeks ago on further defining that. We do have a meeting coming up here. Gosh, I think it's, look at my calendar, but I believe it's next week to further discuss that. So, I don't know any details on that, but it's still active.
Anyone else? I have a couple of real quick ones. Justin, in your memo, where you indicated that roundabout will force more traffic onto Poplar Grove Road, which will increase potential traffic facility or accidents. Is IDOT at all, would they ever consider these comments, or do they take them into consideration, or does that not mean anything to them?
Try to be politically correct here, but so it's probably real similar to when they put the signals on the bypass, the E-by. A lot of that traffic got pushed up onto Squaw Prairie to come over. In fact, I do it myself. So, initial stages of this, the county did reach out to IDOT and stated those concerns. In fact, actually, those didn't go real far. So then we tried to work with them on reducing the number of roundabouts, not only to reduce the restrictions, but also to help line up with the future Spring Creek Town Hall extension that is proposed that's on the books. So we're looking at both of those things, possibly lining up Woodstock for future kind of a better alignment there as well. All of those discussions, from my perspective, have not changed the direction.
That's too bad. And did you by any chance get a response from Kinziger when you wrote him that memo about the non-MDP funding source?
No, I have not received a response yet.
Thank you. Anything else for Justin?
I should say that there was a response. Thank you. That's what they needed. Other than that, no further response.
Anything else for Justin? Thank you, Justin. Item 7.0 is the quarterly department presentations. Let's start with 7.1, which is the state's attorney. I assume you've all had a chance to read the state's attorney's report. And you're there, Tricia. I didn't know that. I'm sorry. So okay. I'll let you take it. I'll let you take it from there.
Thanks. I walked in after you guys started, but I don't know if anyone had any questions about the report I submitted. I do have just a couple comments to expand on what I touched on. Things are getting a little bit back to normal in the courtroom, and the court case level is starting to get back to pre-COVID levels. So we've been pretty busy. In addition, as I commented, we've done quite a bit on the civil end. I have mentioned that we're going to be coming to the board regarding some code changes, and just to give you a highlight, some of those involve the 911 board, the raffle procedure, and also the liquor code. So things to look forward to in the next couple months. Kind of to echo what the sheriff said, we've seen a real increase in traffic accidents, and once they are investigated by the police, they come over to our office, and that's when the work from my office begins. And sometimes it takes a while to charge in a case because we're waiting for the reconstruction by the sheriff's department or the police department. That sometimes can take months depending on how busy they are. They have to also download the black box from the car. They have to do the measurements. So that can take some time, do mathematical equations and figure that all out. In addition, sometimes we're waiting on lab results from the hospital or for the crime lab. And so all that takes time to get all the evidence before we can make a charging decision. While that's going on, our victim witness coordinator does reach out to the family, tries to keep them informed as much as possible as we're progressing through the case. So we've, like to echo again what the sheriff said, we've had many of those over the summer months. So we've been working on that. In addition, I've outlined some of the things that our investigator has been doing in the office. It's been a real great hire to have him in there. Some of the things that he does that they're kind of hard to quantify the money savings, but it is saving us money because he can go out and serve subpoenas in different counties. Not that our sheriff's department or police department can't, but they also have their typical caseload and are on also, patrol as usual. So this is an extra body out there able to do that. In the past, what we've had to rely on is Winnebago County Sheriff's Department trying to serve our subpoenas. We would send them a month in advance from court dates. We'd get them back as not being served. They maybe went out once to the apartment or address, knocked on the door. Oh, no one's here. That causes a case to be continued. Continued cases never get better for the prosecution for the most part. And so, it delays the justice in the case. Now we have an investigator to go out there, and he's almost, 9 times out of 10 can get the person served. So it's been a great asset. In addition, some of those hard to find victims, whether intentionally or not, we have some people who avoid service as a victim in a case. Sometimes we have people who have just moved, changed their phone number, et cetera. And once we're able to find those victims and serve them with a subpoena to appear in court, we are able to resolve cases because then the defendant knows that the victim is going to be there to testify against them. So that saved money in regards to bench trials and jury trials that have been resolved based on those services. So it's been a great asset for my department. So I don't know if anyone else has any questions based on what I've said or in the report.
Any questions for Tricia and the board? Anyone on the line? Thank you, Tricia.
Thank you, everyone.
Item 7.2 is the quarterly report from the public defender, and I see that Carrie is online. You wanted to go ahead, Carrie, please?
Yes, good evening, everyone. As you can see in our report, our numbers are up to very normal appointment levels. We've had a lot of drug cases, DUIs, domestic, orders of protection violation, driving while revoked. But you can see that we've done our resolution of cases is sky high, almost 200 cases. I think part of that is now that we have the electronic home monitoring program, we've been resolving a lot of minor traffic cases that where people have a job and there's mandatory minimums. And this has been allowed a lot more flexibility in sentencing. In some cases, we're just waiting for this program to start. So far, it seems to be working well. I haven't gotten any feedback from any of my clients who have actually done it yet, but my clients have been very excited to take part in that program, other than, of course, the fact that it's a punishment. We've really enjoyed having a college student, her name's Samantha, who's been working for us in the part-time position. She's done a phenomenal job. When she started, we had files all the way back to February of 20 that hadn't been scanned, and she's all the way up to December. I mean, that is just amazing work that she has done. And but she's going to go back to college, and I'm just really excited that today I got an application for the new open position, and I expect a few more this upcoming week. So it takes a lot of burden off my other 2 employees who are in the administration field. to have someone else who's there if they're on vacation, especially during the summer. So that has worked out very well for us. I think that's about it. Anybody have any questions?
Questions for Carrie in the boardroom? Any questions for Carrie from someone online? Thank you very much, Carrie.
Thank you.
Item 7.3 is the quarterly report from probation. I don't see Amy on the screen, so maybe she's there in the room, boardroom.
Yep, she's heading up there.
I was slow to get up here, Sherry. I'm here.
Oh, thank you, Amy. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Hopefully everybody had a chance to look over my documents. There's some points that I have not added to my narrative. We have a copy machine in our probation department, and our lease, 5-year lease, was up in August. So I have signed a new lease with the same company. Our payments will start in September, and they should be $50 cheaper for this lease with the same company. So that's a plus, $50 a month for the next 5 years. Starting next week, we will be starting with the working relationship with Goodwill grads. Goodwill Industries is going to be bringing GED program and case management to Boone County. It will be housed out of the Salvation Army. They're going to come meet with us next Wednesday and some other local stakeholders to discuss the program and how we can help fill the program. So I don't know if anybody has any questions about that or anything on my report.
Any questions for Amy in the boardroom? On the phone? I have one quick question, Amy, if you don't mind. In your report, you said that we were not billed for juveniles in detention for July or August. Did I misread that?
We will not be billed for July services until the end of August. So it's a month lag.
Okay.
So there's 5 months left to go, July through November.
Yeah, you're way ahead of saving money. Great job. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, I was on mute. 7.4 is the circuit clerk. Linda, are you in the boardroom, or I don't see you online?
Yeah, Linda is not in the boardroom tonight.
I think she's out of town.
Okay, apparently, she may be out of town until Monday, so she's not here present this evening.
Okay, so but we all have her reports, which I thought were pretty good reports. She's doing some streamlining and converting to ACH transactions instead of issuing checks in some cases. And perhaps we can look forward to her talking to us a little bit more about that next month. I apologize. I keep hitting my mute. I apologize. Administration has submitted a monthly written report. Are there any questions for Dan or Kevin from that?
May I, Madam Chairman, could I just back up? This is Dave Wiltsey.
Sure.
On the fines and fees charts, I just wanted to make sure I understood. Like, for example, in December of 2017, it says 104,49. So does that mean 104,490? So when they get into six figures, do they drop that like that in the box? Does anyone know? See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do not. And I haven't figured out yet how to get the document in front of me and keep your faces on my screen. So I don't want to lose you. I'm not going to try. Let's make sure that question gets asked. Or are you passing it to Kevin? Kevin, can you answer?
I am not able to answer that Okay, yeah, so we can follow up with Linda on that. And then we'll get back to Mr. Wiltie.
Sounds like a good idea. Anything else, Dave?
No, thank you.
Okay, are we ready to go? Administration's written report. Does anybody have any questions for Dan or Kevin from the administration written report?
Hi, Sherry, this is Kevin. Typically, we skip over, typically we just ask for item 8 if anyone has any questions on any of the reports, and then we typically just skip over. We don't typically, yeah.
Better to do, I was just going to do one by one skipping, but I'll do them all. Let's rock right on here, kids.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's get
That's
to, hang on a minute. I think we are all the way up to, let me look. Oh, new business. Here we go. I think we need a motion to approve the claims with the understanding that Carl Johnson abstains from voting on all claims presented by William Charles, and Bill Robertson abstains from voting on all claims presented to Bill Robertson Lock Service. We need a motion to move this on to the board. Is that correct?
Right, I'll make that motion. Second.
I'm sorry, who said I'll make that motion?
That'd be Jeff. Second was Jonathan.
Okay, thank you. We need a roll call. Let me run through the roll call before I turn it over to the chairman of admin. Carl Johnson? Sherry Giese?
Yes, yes.
All right, yes from Carl. I say Sherry Giese, yes. Jonathan Van Laar?
Yes.
Dave Wiltsey?
Yes.
Ray Larson? Steve Schabacker?
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle?
Yes.
Ryan Curry?
Yes.
Bill Robertson?
Yes.
Sherry Bartelt?
Yes.
Rodney Riley?
Yes.
And Freddie De La Trinidad?
Yes.
Motion carries, and let the record show that Ryan Curry arrived at 6:40 PM.
Point of order, Bill, did you mean to abstain on that, or on that vote, you voted yes?
No.
Yeah, so the motion already had, it had in there, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know, my best practice has always been to abstain anyway, but I understand what you're saying. It's okay.
Yeah.
You're good with it, I'm good with it.
All right, so we're on 9.2.
Okay, Ryan, are you ready to go, or do you want me to continue on?
I am good to go. Thank you, Sherry.
You're entirely welcome. Thank you.
Item 9.2, I need a motion to move resolution 21-21 approving greenways, a greenways plan for Boone, Ogle, and Winnebago counties forward to the county board for approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Robertson,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Schabacker. Discussion? Hold on.
No,
Shoot, go ahead, Dave.
Unless I missed it, I was going through the three memos or the three presentations. You got a resolution and so forth. Did I miss it, or was there a proposed pathway for the greenways, or is that to come later?
I believe we have Shelby Best from R1PC on the line, and probably better answer that question. Shelby, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Good evening.
Hi.
So yes, the plan has already been created, and it was completed in April of 2021. If you don't have those, the plan information or whatever, we can definitely provide that.
I was just curious, and maybe I missed it, but I wasn't seeing it as an attachment to any of the three documents that are on our board docs. So I'll be voting to approve this tonight, but I would like to see it.
So the county engineer may be able to elaborate as well.
Yeah, it's part of the memo, the memo that if you follow that link, it'll have a document that will be. So that's where the map that you're speaking of is. And I'll just point out that there's a couple of the ITEP corridor between Poplar Grove and Belvedere was added, and then also a link between Rockford and Belvedere along State Street was added.
Okay, thank you. I see that outlink now.
Any other questions or discussion in the boardroom or on the phone? Do it all.
And we had to call the roll because we have
Okay.
folks on the line.
Okay.
I think Sherry may call the roll for you, or you can do it. Or I can do
Is everybody here?
it. Yes.
Okay. Move on with roll call. Carl Johnson,
Yes.
Sherry Giese,
Yes.
Jonathan Van Laar,
Yes.
Dave Wiltsey,
Aye.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Steve Schabacker.
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle,
Yes.
Bill Robertson,
Yes.
Sherry Bartelt,
Yes.
Rodney Riley,
Yes.
Freddie De La Trinidad.
Yes.
Motion carried. Item 9.3. Need a motion to move resolution 21-22 expenditure authorization of $525,492.40 from Rebuild Illinois funds for Poplar Grove Bridge forward to the county board for approval.
I'll make that motion. Second.
Motion made by Jonathan Van Laar, seconded by Jeff Carlisle. Discussion. Is anybody presenting or any questions in the boardroom on this matter or on the phone? All right, that being said, we will move on to roll call. Jonathan Van Laar,
Yes.
Dave Wiltsey,
Aye.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Steve Schabacher.
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle,
Yes.
Bill Robertson,
Yes.
Sherry Bartelt,
Yes.
Rodney Riley,
Yes.
Freddie De La Trinidad,
Yes.
Carl Johnson,
Yes.
Sherry Gieske.
Yes.
Motion carried. Item 9.4, I need a motion to move Denny Road Bridge Replacement 20-03121-00 Bravo Romeo to low bidders Schulstrom and Sons Incorporated in the amount of $409,084.91 forward to the county board for approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Jeff Carlisle,
Second.
seconded by Steve Schabacher. Any questions or comments on this matter? Any questions on the phone? That being said, we will move on to roll call. Ray Larson. Aye. Steve Schabacher.
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle.
Yes.
Bill Robertson.
Yes.
Sherry Bartelt.
Yes.
Rodney Riley.
Yes.
Freddie De La Trinidad.
Yes.
Carl Johnson.
Yes.
Sherry Gieske.
Yes.
Jonathan Van Laar.
Yes.
Dave Wiltsey.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item 9.5, I need a motion to move jurisdictional transfer of roadway from Boone County Highway to Bonus and Boone Townships forward to the Boone County Board for approval.
So moved.
Second. Motion made by Jeff Carlisle, seconded by Ray Larson. Any discussion? Comments on the phone? All right. Roll call. Jeff Carlisle.
Yes.
Bill Robertson.
Yes.
Sherry Bartelt.
Yes.
Rodney Riley.
Yes.
Freddie De La Trinidad.
Yes.
Carl Johnson.
Yes.
Sherry Gieske.
Yes.
Jonathan Van Laar.
Yes.
Dave Wiltsey.
Aye.
Ray Larson. Aye. Steve Schabacher.
Yes.
Motion carried. Item 9.6. I believe this is to approve our holiday schedule for the 2022 holiday season, or the year of 2022, the holiday schedule. Do you have any discussion or do you any that just basically obviously have the schedule posted?
We do, and this is presented just a little bit earlier than normal. The 17th Circuit Court asked that the county boards for Winnebago and Boone approve their schedules a little bit earlier so that they could plan their schedule for next year's court dates. Essentially, what they are debating in the courts right now is that the Illinois Supreme Court adopted two new holidays granted by the state of Illinois legislature, which are Juneteenth, which by the state law is actually supposed to be observed on a weekday. However, the Illinois state legislature is observing that next year for 2022 on a Monday when it's really occurring on a Sunday. So they're deviating from that. And then they're also observing Election Day holiday, which we ended up observing that last year as well due to the pandemic. However, the state opted to make that a state holiday. We have not typically, the county in particular, is not typically aligned with state holidays. And so the calendar, the FY22 calendar, the 2022 calendar year holiday schedule is the exact same schedule that we had for this year. And of course, the county board is able to modify that as they see fit.
Thank you, Kevin. Anybody have any questions or just comments on this? In the boardroom or on the phone? Go ahead, Dave.
Just Dave Wiltsey, just generally, I don't like when the state mandates holidays, but particularly in the case when it ends on a weekend to make a Monday out of it. Conceptually, I don't like to do that, and that's all I have to say.
Any other questions or comments? All right, move to roll call. Bill Robertson,
Yes.
Sherry Bartelt,
Yes.
Rodney Riley,
Yes.
Freddie De La Trinidad,
Yes.
Carl Johnson. One more time. Carl, please.
Yes.
Thank you. Sherry Gieske,
Yes.
Jonathan Van Laar,
Yes.
Dave Wiltsey,
No.
Ray Larson,
Aye.
Steve Schabacher,
Yes.
Jeff Carlisle.
Yes.
Motion carried. Go ahead, Jeff.
Who made the motion? Who seconded that?
That motion was made by,
I don't think there was one.
did we not motion? I'm sorry,
Oh, did we not? Oh, geez. Okay.
didn't ask for one, so I'm a robot. I read the teleprompter. Can I get a motion to approve that?
I'll motion.
All right, motion made by Steve Schabacher,
I'll second it.
seconded by Bill Robertson. A roll call's been made, motion's approved. 9.7, fiscal year budget discussion. Do we need a motion?
No, we're just going to present some information. Shoot. Okay. So we kicked off the FY 2022 budget process in June, beginning with budget entry by departments. We then set up meetings with each department head and staff in last month to gain a better understanding of those requests. So departments met with the deputy county administrator and myself and to gain a better understanding of those requests. What we plan to do is deliver expenditure recommendations to the county board, as all requests may or may not be able to be granted, as we have to balance revenue and expenditures to ensure sustainable government. We also want to make sure the county board is able to hear from all departments, so those departments and their staff will be invited to attend those meetings in the future when we plan those out. We also engaged our community partners, which include, those partners that receive grants and or have levies such as CASA, Growth Dimensions, Keen Center, Veterans Affairs Commission, and the University of Illinois Extension, just to name a few. We will welcome them to attend budget meetings as well if the county board would like to ask them questions. In the meantime, what I did to be proactive is that I gathered information from them, such as metrics and performance data that we will compile for the county board to review in advance of honoring their requests. According to our schedule, which is still fluid and we're still a little early, we plan to present our main revenue sources with exception to the EAV tonight. The EAV is still being finalized by the supervisor of assessments, which should hopefully be ready for us next week. So Mr. Street will provide an overview of our main revenue sources, and we will certainly entertain questions throughout the presentation. I'll turn it over to Mr. Street. And Sherry, the information that Dan has passed out is on board docs.
Thank you.
All right, good evening, county board members. So tonight we'll be providing you with a brief overview of our initial general fund revenue estimates for the FY 2022 budget. So we're going to specifically focus on 8 main revenue sources, and they account for 35% of the total general fund revenues. So if you combine these 8 revenue sources with property tax, which is the single largest line item, those 9 revenues make up 80%, nearly 80% of the general fund. So, we spend quite a bit of time talking about these with the county board. There's a reason for that. We have to get these right. It's really important. So we do spend a lot of time analyzing and projecting these revenues moving forward. So what I'm going to do is walk through the handout that I just gave out for the county board. Quickly, if you have questions at any point, feel free to just shoot your hand up and ask. So on page 1 here includes the county's 3 types of sales tax revenues. So we have the quarter-cent countywide sales tax, the full-cent county sales tax, and then the half-cent public safety sales tax, which was done via referendum. So as you can see, we are projecting increases, modest increases to all 3 of those for FY 2022. One thing I did want to cover, and I've talked about this a little bit the last few finance meetings, but the sales tax revenues have been affected actually significantly by something called leveling the playing field. And so this is the second handout that we just provided to the county board. So what this did essentially, it was legislation that the Illinois legislature adopted in 2019 and went into effect just in January of this year. What it did was essentially level the playing field between how online sales were taxed compared to brick and mortar sales in the state of Illinois. And so what we've seen the last few months, if you remember, I keep coming back to the board and we're seeing really high sales tax revenue. So we're seeing record month. What's happened is those revenues have shifted from local use tax, which is where they had been being logged here at the county. And now those are coming into our sales tax coffers. So overall, it's a good thing for the county. When those, for instance, Amazon, when those Amazon sales were made, a local sales tax, such as our public safety sales tax, if those sales were being applied to only use tax, we weren't getting our local share of the sales tax on those sales. So really, that's where the leveling the playing field terminology comes from. Now for those sales, so if someone buys something off of Amazon, we're going to actually see the sales tax revenue, including our own public safety sales tax. So overall, I think it's going to be a net increase for the county. And you can see in the sales tax revenues, they're going to go up next year, we're thinking. And then conversely, on the local use tax side, here on page 2, you'll see that we're projecting that pretty much flat for 2022. So then on page 2, we have income tax, the personal property replacement tax. Then, like I said, the local use tax. Income tax is one that's been doing well for the last few years. To be honest, we were a little bit low this year for FY 2021. We're already at almost 1.8 million. We only budgeted 1.865. So we're recommending in FY 2022, 2.1. And honestly, potentially, depending on how these next few months go, with the income tax disbursements, that number, we could come back and actually increase that number. Right now, I feel comfortable being a little bit more conservative and going with 2.1. The personal property replacement tax, that's something that historically, it's been really difficult to project. It really bounces around from year to year. Again, we were a little bit low this current year. We're actually already at 622, and the budget for the entire year was 460. So next year, again, being conservative, thinking right now 500, seeing how these last few months play out. I wouldn't really feel comfortable jumping all the way up to 6 and above, to be honest. I think around that 500 mark is probably something where we'll be comfortable at. And then on local use tax, again, I mentioned with the leveling the playing field. So just to highlight here, so the FY 2020, so the last full year, the actuals, you can see what happened. So we had been at 553 in 18. We were at 629,000 in 2019. And then in FY 2020, that jumped up to 825,000. That was when the state started taxing those sales. They were going into local use tax. Now, starting this year, and we've seen in the last few months, those revenues are going into sales tax. And so if we look at where we're at right now, I think 675, which is where we budgeted this year actually, is probably a safe number for next year. So we're recommending just leaving that flat for FY 2022. And then finally on page 3, these are two smaller revenues. I don't normally highlight these with the county board, but I did want to highlight them because I think they are important. They are ongoing tax revenues. The first one is the cannabis use tax. So this was something that we didn't receive until March of 2020. It's really done well. It's continued to grow every month. It's grown. I just saw yesterday that the state announced that July of 2021 was a record marijuana sales month for recreational marijuana. So almost $30 million worth of marijuana sales in July 2021. So you can see with the budget, 14,000 was budgeted this year. We've already eclipsed that number. So we're going to up that next year to $27,600. And it is important to note too that specific cannabis money is dedicated to funding some of the sheriff's activities as far as stopping drugs in the community. So that is a dedicated revenue source in the general fund. And then the last item tonight would be the video gaming tax. Again, something we don't normally talk about, but it is an important ongoing revenue. So it typically around 70,000. We were a little bit low this year. This was something that was impacted significantly last year. Video gaming in the state was shut down between March and July. And so 2020 was low, but the numbers this year look good. And so we're recommending bumping that up from 65,000, which was budgeted last year, to 70,000 for 2022. And that's all I have tonight. As the county administrator mentioned, we are working on with Supervisor of Assessments on getting the updated EAV projections. So that will be the next step in getting that property tax estimate. Once we have that, we'll really have 80% of the general fund accounted for. So at that point, then it's just getting through the small fees and some of the things that we collect in the general fund. I think we're on track as far as projecting these numbers, and happy to take any questions tonight.
Any questions in the boardroom for Kevin? Go ahead, Jeff.
No particular question, but it's just well done. I appreciate the time and effort you're putting into this thing, and please press on with the information. It's great.
This is Sherry. I have a quick one.
Go ahead, Sherry.
I'm not sure if Dan, if you'll have any, or Kevin will have any insight. I heard the other day that these payments that are made to families with children and the extra unemployment and so on and so forth is taxable income. Is that in fact correct? Do you know, Dan?
I think I just read that I'm sorry. I'm confusing with unemployment. I don't actually know.
I don't believe it's taxed though, because it's basically an advance of your income tax refund. So
I know the child care credit or the child credit is an advance refund, but the stimulus payments aren't. So I'm not sure if the stimulus would be taxed or not.
I don't think it's taxable for an advance. I think it's just
we can follow up, Sherry. We'll find it.
Please don't make it a priority, but I was just curious as to what, if any, impact that will have on our income tax revenues. So anyhow, but thank you.
Any other questions for Dan on the budget? Okay, thank you, Dan. Moving on to raffles, we do have 6 raffles that are signed and approved. I believe coming up. Anything for intergovernmental landfill?
Just a quick note on the landfill. We have finally installed the first PVC well. Thanks actually to our county engineer. He did a lot of the logistical planning and work with our consultant on that, and really helped me out. So that was installed successfully, and we're hoping that TRC will get us some positive results so we can install the other 4 and hopefully just keep moving us closer to that post-closure certification. So, yeah.
Go ahead, Dave.
Just a factual question. My reading is particularly on page 3 of that memo. Is a well actually a vent? Or is it, I mean,
No,
it's not a well in the traditional sense of.
Yeah, I'll have the county engineer take that for me. Thank you.
It's a 70-foot well down through groundwater, so it's not a whole lot different than a traditional shallow point drinking water well. So
Okay, so it actually does go down to, I just thought it was a gas vent, you know?
no, it's intended to sample the groundwater. We do have gas vents out there, but this one does go down 70 feet down to the water table.
Oh, excellent. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Section 11, correspondence.
Just a notification from City of Belvedere on applying biosolids. That's it.
Okay. Anything from UCCI?
I don't believe so, but I know that Sherry Bartelt and Freddie De La Trinidad went to the annual conference. I don't, if you want to say anything about that or not.
It was very interesting. We learned, there's one lady there from Peoria who really broke down how the money, when we get it, can be broke down, how it can be used within a county. Of course, like I said, there was some gentleman there from the State Police Department talking about the new laws and regulations. And other than that, just met a lot of people, found out a lot of different things about different counties. But they had a suggestion thing, and my suggestion was that they put the golf thing to the Tuesday and put the meetings on a Monday. And that way we could have more time for breakdown. I don't know how well that's gonna go over, but I just thought it was a good idea.
Thank you, Sherry. Freddie, did you get some?
Yeah, just, basically because I'm kind of like the new guy. So it was just interesting. It was a good experience just to learn about the different counties and how everybody structures their governments. There's some counties that only have 6 county board members, others that just have 10, 12. So it was just, a good experience just to kind of compare and contrast, get some ideas from everybody and just meet a bunch of people. So it was a good experience.
Stevenson County is going from, I believe it was 24 members to 16. And there were several other ones that had pretty good sized boards that are also going down in size.
Go ahead, Rodney.
Question for you guys, was there any discussion, and I was gonna mention this in board member comments coming up, but was there any discussion in that meeting about how things are going with other areas as far as the redistricting and all that kind of stuff, as far as the
Yes, several of them.
changes in that?
Yes, several of them did bring, they, basically talking among ourselves, not necessarily in a comment or people standing up there talking to us. It was just different counties. There's gonna be a little push and shove going on, and but everybody is pretty much on board with changing things. I did not hear of any county that said, no, we aren't gonna do it. So, yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting project.
Anything else? All right, we'll move on to 11.3 board member comments. Anybody have anything that they want to add? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Go ahead, Rodney.
I just want to expand on the question I was asking Sherry. I'm sure we're still waiting on census information and all that kind of stuff. I'm kind of directing towards you, Tricia. I don't know if you have any, I'm just going to be looking for updates on this as time goes on. I know we have extra time now that we have to work on this. I'm just kind of wondering what steps we're at this point.
I believe that the census data is supposed to be released in September. And so I think, and Tammy Cox would actually be the person to talk more in depth about it, about the difference between the ACS data and the census data. And I think when we were thinking that we had to get it done a lot sooner, we were really diving into the ACS to see if that was something that was usable. And I think maybe the thought now is if it's supposed to be released next month, we could do it as we've always done in the past and use the census data. And I think I don't want to speak for Tammy.
Yeah.
But that's what has been used in the past, and I think what she was comfortable using, because there's different data sets and how you pull the data out of there. I am not a data person, I am not a technical person, but I think that that was something that she was, I don't want to say having trouble with, but it's a different method than using the census to draw the maps, getting the data. So I can certainly talk to her between now and next week and maybe give you an update on at the finance committee. But I think that was kind of the thought process now that we're so close to September.
Just as a comment, if you get, looking through your emails, watch that webinar that Julie attended or was part of. I took the time, I skipped through quite a bit of it, but very informative on the election changes. And they didn't talk a lot about this reappropriation, redistricting so much, but just a lot of good information in there if you have time. It's a YouTube video. You click on the link from the email and you can really learn a lot. So
Julie did an excellent job.
Yes.
She was very informative, and it was almost 200 people, I think, attended live, and she did a really great job representing Boone County in that video at the seminar.
I agree. Yep.
Jeff Carlisle.
Yeah, I sent some data over to Animal Services, Rick and Dan, and to Kevin, and it's a very positive review on a 4-year average versus what we're currently doing on the Animal Services revenues, on expenses, and a review on those two against what we're currently doing, animal intake. And if Rick wants to share that with everybody, I think that would be great, because you'll see the advantages of what's going on in animal services in a very positive note from a 4-year averages that what we've been doing and what we're currently running. Thank you.
Anybody else have any comments before we move on? All right, 11.4, County Administrator Evaluation. Sherry Geeske.
Thank you very much, Ryan. I'm going to try and keep this brief, but what I wanted to start out with is that section 17 of the county administrator's contract is entitled Performance Evaluation, to be conducted in July of each year. And here's what it says. The county will review the performance of the county administrator in July of each year pursuant to a process to be mutually agreed upon by the county and the county administrator. The evaluation process will include the opportunity for the county council members and the county administrator to A, prepare a written evaluation, B, meet and discuss the evaluation, and C, present a written summary of the evaluation results. The final written evaluation will be completed and delivered to the county administrator no later than 30 days after the evaluation meeting. I was asked to put together the process to do that, which of course I wanted to do in July, but I was not able to do it then. So here we are, we're going to do it in August. And I'm going to walk through it real quickly. And the first year, the evaluation is being based on the duties and responsibilities that were outlined in the job description. And what we're going to do is called a 360-degree review, meaning that elected officials, department heads, and staff, direct report staff, will complete an appraisal, and they will all be combined to, I will take it, they'll all be delivered to me. I'll collate all of them to arrive at a final review. Kevin has the same document, and he will do a self-evaluation based on the same qualities. This is a management review. So it's going to look a little bit different because it's going to be based on 10 qualities of effective management. So at the same time, the final review, which will be a compilation of everything that we can put in, and Kevin's will be distributed to all the county board members at the same time. And thereafter, we will have a discussion about what goals and objectives that we mutually agree upon will be laid out for next year that support the duties and responsibilities. Where do you folks come in? Well, you're elected officials. So tomorrow, oh, by the way, Dan is helping me with this. So tomorrow you should receive an email from me, and there'll be an attachment called the Management Performance Appraisal. The form is pretty self-explanatory. As I said, it is 10 qualities. The rating scale is 5. You'll figure it out. But of course, if you have questions, don't hesitate to email me or to give me a call. Now, the 2 most important things about this, I think, are number 1, we all need to participate in this. We need to hear from everybody that's on that list. It is in the best interest of all of us, but most importantly, Kevin in the county. So participation is probably number 1, the number 1 most important thing I can ask you to do. And the second thing is confidentiality. And so, as I said, you can email me. It's a Word document. You can just fill it out and email it to me. Or as I said, slap it in an envelope and give it to Dan, and he'll make sure I get them. Here's the other big problem, not big issue, is I would like them all back by 1 week from tomorrow, August 13th. It really will not take you much more than probably 10 minutes at most. It's pretty user-friendly, I think. And Dan was wonderful in helping me with some formatting issues on it. What my goal is then, if we get them all in on August 13th, is to compile and collate them and have a final ready for the board meeting on the 19th. Now, I'm hoping none of you hold that candle to that fire to my toes, but that's my my lofty goal here, is to get that concluded. If we make it by the end of the month, I hope we'll be okay, but let's hope we can get it all done by the board meeting. With that, I'll be quiet and take any questions.
Any questions for Sherry? Dave Wiltsey has a question, Sherry.
Did I understand that department heads would be in this process evaluating the manager?
Yeah, it will be. It's a 360-degree appraisal. So that means it's people all around the employee that we're doing. So it's elected officials, it's department heads, and it's staff that report directly to the county administrator. So yes.
Is this typical for a county? Because I went through, I worked under 5 mayors and 6 city managers, and the department heads never evaluated the city manager. The board always did.
Well,
That's a municipality, so I don't know if counties are typically different or not. I'm just kind of surprised.
Well, I can't comment on what any other county or municipality has done. But this process I put together back when Ken was still with us.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it didn't happen for obvious reasons.
Any other questions for Sherry?
Brian, this is
New
Carl.
text message from Hurst Travis.
Hey,
Go ahead, Carl.
just a comment on that. Sherry and I have been working on this for quite a while. I asked her to kind of take the lead on this and work on this. We've worked through this, and this is kind of the best process we came up with to get a full 360-degree view of everything. With a new county administrator, and he's in a new position for him, new position with us. So we thought it'd be a good idea to get a full, well-rounded view and to help he and the county both grow together in the best way possible.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, I don't think we have any reason to go into executive session
We
tonight.
do not.
I think we just need one last motion.
Karen?
Second,
Motion made.
Carlisle. I think we made the motion.
Jeff Carlisle, seconded by Dave Wilson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion carried. Meeting adjourned. I was trying to say something smart.
Oh, no.
Evaluation till after the budget or no?